All right, ready. All right, I was going to throw up a quick video on a little change I've made recently, and I thought I would share with some of y'all out there. It has to do with my diet. I've tried, different kinds of eating habits throughout the years. I'm just naturally a big dude. I gain weight really easily. For those of you who don't know, I'm a power lifter, and probably about 10 years ago, I started really attempting to gain a bunch of weight because weight moves weight. At least that's what you hear as a power lifter. So I got up to upwards of 300 pounds at 5'10"-ish, which was way too heavy. I got to the point where, like, if I bent over and to tie my shoes, I'd get all lightheaded because my blood pressure was so high. So, I cut back on that. I got down. I've been probably sitting at like 275 for the last few years, which is a good weight, but at the same time, it's too much weight to be just carrying around every day. So, I went on a high protein diet and cut out as many carbs as I could, and I find that I don't react well to a lot of carbs, especially like breads, pizza and stuff like that. I love it, but if I sit and eat a few slices of pizza, I immediately start feeling hot, and like my ears will get red, and I feel flushed, and it's just your body's having at least my body has a adverse reaction to dumping a lot of carbs into my system. So a few months back, I started going on a mostly protein diet, and I did a quick video on a high protein diet, and it started to work a little bit. I lost a little bit of fat, but my weight just kind of like evened out, and losing any more fat weight, basically, it stopped. No matter how much cardio and stuff I did. I go to a couple different gyms to lift, but I do all my cardio at home. I have a Stairmaster and a Concept 2 rower, and I do what's called rucking, where you throw a heavy pack on and hike, and then I mountain bike and stuff. But weight just kind of just bottomed out, and I couldn't lose any more. So I started looking into it was actually on a fluke. I was watching a YouTube video, and on the right hand side of the screen, your things that are recommended for you to pop up, and I saw a video on intermittent fasting. So I started watching it. And with anything, if I'm interested in it, I'll sit and do all the research I can on it, and it really made a lot of sense. And to make a long story short, I've been doing this intermittent fasting for about 2 weeks now, and I'm already down 7 pounds. And I was at the gym last night, and during my feeding time, one day a week, I lift at night, and that's when I'm in the feeding window. And I tell you what, I've been hitting some massive PRs on my lifts, because there's a lot of positive things that happen in your body during intermittent fasting. Your body produces a huge level of human growth hormone, and other hormones start to rise, and I feel amazing all the time. My sleep is perfect. I actually don't get hungry. To give you a little background on intermittent fasting, there's a bunch of different ways to do it, but I do the 16 and 8. So basically, I'll fast for 16 hours, and then I have a feeding window of 8 hours. I get up really early for work, so I'll stop eating by 8, and then I pick it back up at noon the next day when I have lunch. And during your fasting window, you can't basically take any calories. So I just drink water, or I don't like coffee, so this is actually unsweetened iced tea that I brew at home, and that's my caffeine. as many of you know, if you've watched my videos, I'm a huge fan of Monster. But there are studies that show that even the 0-calorie Monsters, the artificial sweeteners they use in it, will trick your brain into thinking that you're consuming calories and some type of a sugar, and it will break your fast. So I don't even mess around with that. I'll have a Monster, like last night I went to the gym, and I'll drink one on my way to the gym, and then kind of sip on it while I'm at the gym for a little caffeine boost. But that's the only time I will have Monster now, which is kind of a shame. I love them in the morning, but you know, you do what you gotta do. But if you, just a little background, I mean, intermittent fasting is super simple. Like I said, you just fast for 16 plus or more hours. It's my assumption, as I've been doing this longer, the fasting window will get bigger. They say, from the studies I've read and watched, the longer you can make the fast go on, the better the health benefits are to it. They become almost exponentially higher with each hour that you fast beyond it. But my issue is with maintaining and actually developing more mass. I definitely don't want to lose any of the muscle I've earned over these many years of lifting, and I don't want to get weaker either. So I'm probably going to keep it around 16. Maybe on the weekends I kind of push it to 17 hours of fasting. And then when you come off your fast, it's very important to have a protein slash fat, high in protein, moderate fats meal. You don't want to just dump a bunch of carbs into your system right off the bat. You want to kind of ease yourself into your feeding window. So usually I'll have some meat of some sort with some cheese, or like cottage cheese, something like that. Not a ton, maybe 50 grams, 60 grams. And then an hour after that, that's when I'll have a real meal, and it can be full of carbs and proteins and fats and stuff. But yeah, I can't say enough about it, how awesome it is. It's more of a lifestyle than a diet. I mean, if you take it back to, you know, evolution, we as a species were never meant to eat 24 hours a day, or even, you know, 16 hours a day or 20 hours a day like most people do. I mean, first thing most people do is when they wake up is you eat something and they snack throughout the day. And what that does is it constantly is making your digestive system work, and you're dumping insulin into your bloodstream. And these are the things that lead to insulin insensitivity, meaning the more your pancreas produces, your body just cannot use it. And that's what leads to, you know, adult onset diabetes. And we're seeing it now in kids. Type 2 diabetes are happening in children. Usually, you know, historically, you know, people didn't get type 2 diabetes until they're much older, but now we're having kids, you know, that are not even teenagers yet are getting it, because they are just constantly dumping sugar into their system 24 hours a day. And your body needs a break from digestion, and that's what that fast does, is it gives your body a break from digesting. You know, it's simple as that. I mean, if you look back just, you know, a couple hundred years ago, we didn't have these readily made meals just waiting for us to eat at any given time. I mean, meals were, you know, you had to hunt for it, prepare it, and it wasn't until recent history where we can just go to the grocery store and just buy whatever we want, and we're just eating all the time. We're not meant to do that. Carbs aren't the enemy, but constant carbs are the enemy. So that 16 plus hours of just letting your system just rest and recover, I can't say enough about it. Right off the get-go, I mean, you'll see some studies, I mean, some people say it's going to take you a week or two to get used to it, but I hit the ground running with it. I have not had any hunger issues. I mean, I pretty much kind of followed it, but what killed me was I would get up in the morning, the first thing I would do is have some carbohydrates. I'd have like a granola bar, maybe a small bowl of cereal, just some carbs, because I thought I needed those carbs to get myself going. But what I was doing is I was totally setting myself back by dumping those carbs into my system right off the bat. That's what kept me from losing any more fat weight, and I literally would feel lethargic. As soon as I eat those, I get to work and I want to take a nap because I'm just so tired. And now, like I said, I don't eat anything from 8 o'clock at night until noon, and I feel like right now it's almost 7:30. I've been up for almost 3 hours now, and I feel awesome. And all I've had is, about this much of this so far today, and I'll finish this during my fast, sipping on it, and along with a bunch of these. And noon will roll around, and I kind of have to force myself to have that small protein meal because I'm really not hungry. And if you talk to most people that are doing intermittent fasting, they really got to kind of force themselves to eat, because you lose that desire to just eat, because eating is more mental than it is physical. You have those eating cues in you that say, hey, whatever time you eat breakfast, your brain tells you it's time to eat. And that's really more psychological than it is physical. I mean, look at animals. Like, I have a couple dogs. They can't tell time, but they know what time it is to eat. That's because it's part of their internal clock, and it's our internal clock as well. So if you can break that internal clock and just leave it to that 8-hour eating window and not so much a set time, you'll find that you eat much less too, which is another advantage to intermittent fasting, is you don't have those structured meals. I would probably say I've cut my calories by about 1,000 calories just by doing intermittent fasting, because I'm not sitting down and having this huge meal, or a couple. Before, I was probably having 2 meals. I was having lunch and dinner. Breakfast wasn't really a thing except for some carbohydrates. But now I'll have some small amount of protein around noon, and then I'll kind of graze through my work day. I love all kinds of like walnuts, peanuts, cashews, that kind of stuff. I keep a big container almost gone, but this is kind of what I snack on. But I'll also snack on, if I need some, I'll have some carbohydrates, but I really don't find that I really need it. And if it's a gym night, I'll down like a Monster for some caffeine, and maybe have some carbs just to keep my energy, blood sugar levels up at the gym. But then I come home and I'll have a fairly large protein meal, but at no point do I feel like I'm starving. Which before, if I dump carbs into my system in the morning, just maybe 100 grams of carbs, maybe through a bowl of cereal and maybe a granola bar, I'm starving the rest of the day. It's just crazy. That's what carbs do to you. They make you hungrier, and you just stay hungry all day. But if you can train yourself to not use those feeding cues, it kind of releases you from that bond, and you just have that 8-hour window. And since you can basically during the intermittent fasting, you can pretty much eat whatever you want as long as you're not pigging out. Well, having that freedom to eat carbohydrates if you want, you don't really eat as much. Because when I was on the low carb diet, if you want to call it a diet, I was constantly just craving carbs, pasta, pizza, and it's not because I really wanted it, it's because I couldn't have it. So anyway, I'm going a little long-winded here, but any of you out there that are watching, and looking for a simple way of cutting fat while maintaining muscle or even getting stronger, and just overall wellness, like I don't get that brain fog that I would get in the middle of the afternoon after having carbohydrates in the morning, and then your blood sugar will spike and then it drops off and you get that brain fog. I don't have that. And the longer you stay on a fast, the clearer your brain gets. Like you can focus so much better. And I just can't say enough about it. And I know for a fact that this is going to be my life now, from now on. And I just want to share it with some of y'all. If you have any questions that I didn't touch on, feel free to ask them. I'll be happy to answer them. And good luck to you if you do try this out. Like I said, it literally will change your life for the better. Just the key is, it's kind of idiot proof. Just during that fast, don't eat or drink anything that has calories in it, and don't stay away from your artificial sweeteners as well. You can have black coffee, you can have unsweetened tea and water during the fast. That's pretty much it. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.